Whatever you're funny, Peacock's got it exclusively. Bears beats The Office on Peacock. Stream every moment from Dunder Mifflin and explore bonus extras and exclusives. Plus, if you're looking for more classic hits, you can stream every episode of Parks and Recreation, 2.5 Men, and every season of SNL. In the mood for something brand new? Check out Peacock's original comedies, The Amber Ruffin Show, and Saved by the Bell. Whether you're craving a new binge or familiar fave, you can find tons of comedy hits on Peacock. Get started for free at peacocktv.com.
Oh, God damn it. Fuck that noise. We're not quitting. Okay.
Fuck that noise. We're not quitting.
You were premature, Mike.
You're listening to the F That Noise podcast, featuring Pete Melia,
But we're talking about shit here.
Jamie Klein,
No one wants to smell your dirty fucking shit.
Mike Burdick,
Feel like I'm in group.
Steve Taylor,
Is he getting his balls slapped by some other dude?
and Keith Grieve.
You get a fucking sausage. It is episode 60. Episode 60 of F That Noise. We've been here.
60.
Nine 60. More until the good one, right, boys? Yeah.
He likes getting his cock licked.
It's not a bad thing.
But,
That's all
yeah,
right.
I was gonna say, are you judging me, Steve? Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted people to know that in case they were unaware.
Okay.
Keith pulls his pants on. It's like a 1, a 2, a 3.
The world.
Three.
The world may never know. So yeah,
I've heard from ex-girlfriends of his that it is not a Tootsie Roll in the middle, though. He lies to all of them.
How many licks?
The world may never know, Mike. We just covered that. The world may never know. Well, so welcome, folks. Welcome to the insanity.
How many licks?
I'm not telling. I don't care what you do. I'm not telling. Anyway, let's move it right along. Try to put some class into this operation.
No.
How many licks?
Man, you're fucking derailing me now. So
How many licks to
we
get
had
the bottom of Mike's whiskey wedge?
we had a couple.
Oh, 1, 2, a 3.
4 and a trip to San Francisco.
Jesus, Keith, will you do the intro
Yeah,
for
I
God's
know.
sakes?
God
I know.
damn it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, here we go. Episode 60. We had a couple topics on the hopper for tonight, but we settled on top automobile horror stories. Because our friend
I get to go before Jamie.
Our friend Mike had a little bit of a hard week. I'm not going to get into details here, but at the end of a very hard week, you had some car trouble.
Yes.
So can you enlighten the events that brought on this topic?
Yes. I'm coming back from a family emergency in Cincinnati, Ohio. Very tough week. And on the first day I decided not to drink. We drove back. And I'm, getting along pretty good for a few hours. And I get into Western Pennsylvania, which is very hilly and probably very racist. And coming around on the freeway, and all of a sudden, at a very high speed, my front tire, driver's side tire, blew. And all of a sudden, this like horrific noise, and like I ended up getting it over to the side of the road, and luckily everybody's safe and everything. But cars are whizzing by, trucks are whizzing by. As I get out, I go back and look, and the spare is screwed up underneath the car, which I've never seen before.
Oof.
And I see these cars rushing by. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to get the car service. So we had to wait an hour to get someone there because I didn't want to go to where, get run over. So we waited. Mm-hmm. And I waited there for over an hour in the middle of Western Pennsylvania, knowing that as soon as they put that donut on there, we were going to have to get a hotel and stay the night because I'm going to have to get a whole new tire. Because I don't know if you know this, you can't drive a car on a donut on the freeway home. You just can't do it. So that, needless to say, that was at the end of a very hard week, was sort of the cum on the top of the cake. And, yeah. So there you have it. There you have it. So I thought,
Ouch.
when I was actually in the tire store waiting for the tire the next morning, talking to a couple people from the podcast, and I said, "Hey guys, here's a topic: horror stories, auto-related horror stories, and not auto-related horror stories, which would be a whole different topic."
We can still get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auto-related horror movies. What, Christine?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just
The
real
car
quick, though,
was
Jamie
being
looked
rolled.
License to
confused.
drive.
Auto-related horror
Jamie looked
stories. We've had
confused when
lieutenants.
Mike said "cum on top of the cake." Jamie, the cake was in the shape of boobs.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, okay. That's all. Make sure.
now I
That
understand.
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, all
now
right,
it's
all right.
now it's socially acceptable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's all right now.
And Mike comes icing. So
I do.
So if at any
Alright.
time
On
you
the
are
shoulder.
listening, if you happen to be watching the live stream and want to join the insanity, the phone number here is 585-484-0342, 585
If you dare.
484-0342. If you are listening to this on demand and not live, and you want to leave a voicemail and that we can use on the air, because if you leave a voicemail, we will play it on the air. That number again is 585-484-0342, 585-484-0342. All right, and without further ado, we start every episode with a drive of the week. If you don't know what a drive is a line from a movie or a TV show said with exceptional velocity and volume. And this part belongs to Jamie Klein.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh!
we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done one of those in a while. Plus, I wasn't prepared. So, so we'll just say ladies and gentlemen for today. And fucks. All right, so here we are with the 1985 horror classic, George A. Romero, shocking gore fest, Day of the Dead. And if anyone has seen Day of the Dead, you already know what drive I'm going to be playing here, or what Keith is going to be playing. This is the late, great Joe Pilato giving it all as he is discussing with Dr. Frankenstein what to do with these zombies. So play some drives, Keith.
We're
Joe
supposed
Palumbo?
to be here at 7 o'clock sharp, mister.
I know. Sarah told me. I'm sorry I couldn't break away. Is there food?
Listen, egghead, let me bring you up to date on what's been...
Excuse me. Is there food?
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. I'm running this
now
monkey.
that's a drive.
I'm running this
That is a fuck.
I'm running this monkey. I'm running this
Drives
monkey
that
farm
table.
now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time. I'm running this
One
monkey
more
farm
time.
now,
One more time.
Frankenstein,
No.
and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time.
All the guy wanted was to know if there was food.
Yeah.
Well, we just got to keep playing that for a half hour, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to for a second.
Oh. You know, if
Yeah.
we ever, sometimes we do these play readings or screen readings. If we ever do one of this movie, Jamie Klein is definitely playing that part.
I
Okay,
just-
I'd love to
Nice,
see
Chris.
Joe Pilato.
I just want to.
got it. Joe got it.
I just want to know who's in charge.
Food.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein.
Oh, okay. Well, now you know.
No, yeah, Jesus Christ.
And
That was a
now-
good drive, Jamie. Good pick this week.
Yes, very
Jim.
good.
Yeah,
forgot about
I
that
love that fucking movie. That movie's awesome.
That was
It's
the,
so cheesy. It's so over the top. It's great.
that was,
That's the one that's more of a comedy, right? That's the
No, that's Dawn.
oh, that's
is-
Dawn of the. I've seen
yeah.
Dawn of the Dead. But I didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, we watched.
I
we
look
watched
at Day of the Dead.
Dawn.
Day of the Dead to me is not really a good movie, but it has some of the best gore I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah,
The gore
is
effects are
fucking
like
amazing.
are unbelievably realistic in that.
Al
I
Gore.
like the story behind it. I like how now basically zombies have run the world, and it's just all these underground bunkers where everyone living underneath. I mean, the acting is a little questionable.
Not in that
and-
scene.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, overall, it's just a fun fucking movie.
that was the drive of the
No.
week. Brought to you by Trashman Media. For all the latest DVD, Blu-ray, and reviews and commentary, head over to trashmanmedia.com and also on Facebook and Twitter.
Don't forget to check out www.bizarreabyss.com for your latest news and no bullshit.
No bullshit. All right. So, yeah. None at all.
Fix it.
As opposed to here.
But, yeah, so back on to the topic at hand. Top horror stories. Mike, you can't use your most recent experience. Sorry. Who wants to lead off? Anybody? We should probably.
I'll lead off.
All right,
I gotta beat Jamie to this punch.
You're not gonna use the
right.
story with him in it, are you?
Oh, Canada.
No, Mike, shut the fuck up. Like, we've had a long talk about that, Mike. All right, so the Jamie one. Now, for those of you who do not know Jamie Klein back when he was in his late teens, early 20s, there were two things about cars that were blatantly obvious. One, Jamie had no patience while in one.
None.
And he had no idea about anything that had to do with the car. And so we're driving, getting on the expressway from on Empire Boulevard in Webster / Irondequoit area, getting on the expressway, heading out to we're heading out to the movies, right? Or was it Hooters?
Nope.
I can't remember.
We're going to Hooters.
Oh, Hooters.
We're going to Hooters. That's right.
Going to Hooters.
It was one of our birthdays for the 4th time that year.
Right.
And
so
we're
we get
in
the girls
car,
to dance.
we
and
hit
all that stuff.
See their top test. We hit a pothole. The hood of Jamie's car. Now, mind you, it's me and Jamie in the car, and that's it. And so I'm riding in the passenger side seat. The hood latch was not fully latched. And so when we hit the pothole, the hood flies up, hits the windshield, completely shatters it. And all I hear is, and both of us were in complete shock. Jamie swearing up a storm, somehow got the car over to the side of the road. And then I remember when he was talking to his dad. His dad's like, "What was the hood latch? I don't know what the fuck the hood latch is. What the fuck are you talking about, Dad?" I was dying, and you know what? For a moment that I thought, I went from pure terror, thinking I was gonna die, to one of the funniest fucking experiences, just by hearing Jamie's reaction to the hood hitting the windshield. The amount of profanity was just breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking.
And for Jamie, that's saying something.
Oh my God. I'll never forget that as long as I live. Because I thought I was going to die, but I was also laughing my ass off. Stop, Keith. No.
This is a solemn moment.
Motherfucker.
Is Steve getting married again?
It's just such a beautiful song. I just couldn't think of a better time to play it. All right, so that's Steve.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's good. It is a
I like that CeeLo Green song better. Fuck you. I like that song.
So, Steve, do you have any other? Is that your top? Your only? Do you have any other minor incidences?
That's my top one. The only other one that I remember is back in the day when I used to bowl every Saturday morning with Mr. Neil Argento. He had this boat of a car, very similar to the one that Adam used to have. What was that massive car that Adam used to drive?
Lisa Ernst. I thought it was Lisa Ernst.
Yeah, before that.
No,
Monte Carlo.
The one without hepatitis. The Monte Carlo. So Neil had, I believe Neil's was a Cutlass Supreme, but it was very similar in size to the Monte Carlo. And one day he had picked me up in the middle of winter. He had bald tires on his car. And so we're pulling out. And for those of you that know the end of my mom's old street, it comes out onto Empire Boulevard in a very precarious area where there's like cars coming over a hill, blind spot. You can't really see much.
Can't screw around.
And he slammed on the brakes. And his car started just going still. Like it was not stopping. So he cranked the wheel and we slid sideways onto Empire Boulevard as a snowplow was coming right at us. And it was one of the full size, like town of Webster snowplows, and we missed it by maybe 2 feet.
Oof.
And we were both just sitting there in the middle of Empire Boulevard. The car was at a dead stop, and we kind of looked at each other, and he just put the car in drive, and we just drove on. Didn't say a word. We both, I think, were having our near-death experience memories right there.
Oh.
So that's my other one. That's my non-Jamie related one.
Do you know Cutlass Supreme is also what Keith calls his penis?
Wow. Wow. That was a stretch, Mike. That was a stretch.
So is your penis.
I can't. Pete, what do you got?
Oh man,
it's a jump rope.
Yeah, so I had to think about this one a little bit, but this story jumped out. I don't know if I ever told anybody this one. So I'm up in Buffalo, right? And I had Marty's car, and I went to some bar by UB, and I ran into some people from high school, right? I don't know if they were people I particularly liked. And to be honest, I wasn't going to tell the story because I can't fucking remember who the hell it was. But, you know, they knew 2 or 3 other people from high school who I recognized, and they said they needed a ride home. So here I am, whatever, sure, right? And we clown card, you know, we piled 12 people into the car, usual. You know, I'm driving them back to North Campus or whatever it is. And I pull up to the stoplight. It's late, you know, it's probably 3 a.m. or something. And I look over and there's a couple of guys next to us, and I'm sort of nodding, hey, how's it going there? And, you know, nothing to see here, a car full of freaking people, right? And so the light turns, and then the car falls in behind me, and they start following us, like obviously following us, you know, like really close. You know, they're almost hitting my bumper, you know, and I'm sort of looking back going, what the hell is going on? What do these guys want? So the next light we get to, they stop. Guy gets out of his car, goes around back, opens the trunk, and they get a few baseball bats out.
Oh, no shit.
And I'm looking around the car going, so I just floor it and took off. And for the next half an hour, these guys were hanging out of the window, swinging bats at us, trying to hit the car.
Jesus.
I don't know how I did it, but I didn't. They managed not to hit the thing hardly. Well, they did a little bit. They got the trunk here and there, and maybe the roof a couple times, but no dents and no nothing else. So it wasn't until later I found out that one of the guys in the car skipped a beer bottle off their hood.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, shit.
I'm not really sure. I don't know why he did it. I never really knew, but it was weird. I'm getting chased by these crazy guys for a half an hour with bats, and I'm going, what the fuck? I didn't even do anything. Usually there's a reason people are chasing me with bats. You know.
Holy
shit. If there is, I like to
Jesus,
make it a good.
Jesus.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, I got too many stories like that.
Oh, it's a fucking nightmare, man.
Yeah, yeah. Another one was pretty recent. I got rear-ended pretty bad. This is like 3 or 4 years ago, like by a Victor exit. We were as a dead stop on the expressway, and I just sort of glanced at my rearview mirror, and I, you know, did like a triple take because this car like was filling up my rearview mirror, doing about 40 or something. He obviously didn't notice all the cars had stopped. He just completely accordioned my car, and we hit like 4 other cars in front of us, and my golf clubs were like way out across the median, scattered all over the everywhere.
No shit.
And
were you in the car by yourself?
Yeah, I was, fortunately, but I couldn't even move for like 2 days. I couldn't even get out of bed. That one was pretty bad.
Jeez.
Jesus, dude.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time.
It just seemed like a good place.
I like this story.
Yeah, no, that's rough, man. The baseball bats, man. I would have shit a tight-eyed Twinkie.
I just had no idea what was going on. I just figured they were just a random act of violence or something.
I assume Pete did shit. Yeah,
I assume so too. But I'm like, you know, this is one of those situations where I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything for once. Yeah.
And lucky for you, you had a bag full of straws in the back seat, so you just threw those.
Right. That's right.
Oh man, that would have been so classic.
I say we have to explain that, but I'm pretty sure that's come up in an episode.
Yeah,
before.
we've said that before.
Or maybe.
Long story short, Pete was anti-straw for a stretch of it. Maybe he still is, I don't know. But he was anti-straw for a stretch of his 20s, and so we spent the summer saving straws from various restaurants, asking for donations. The last night, I think Mike and was it you and Jamie or Marty just drove around asking people
I don't
for
remember who was
donations.
with me. I think I put it in the car.
I was with you.
It was a big. So at Pete's last night before he went away to school, he had a hefty bag full of straws put in his car, and ha 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 ha.
Just because it's
so
very
tempted to
important.
sit all over
It's
their
very
windshield,
important
bunch of
is
straws.
it's very good friends to find what our friends hate
Yes.
and blow it completely out of proportion.
And if you listen to more than one episode of this podcast, you already understand that.
Oh, Keith.
Like, don't talk about Keith's big dick.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Definitely don't call it a
All right. For that, Jamie, you're next. What's your story? Since Steve took the most obvious one for you.
I know that was gonna be my one. Yeah. Let's see here. I did fall asleep at the wheel of the car. One.
That's the worst.
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me. I was doing some crazy hours at my old job, and I drove. It's an hour and a half one way, an hour and a half back every day. You know, I did it for years, and I was just on no sleep, and I was driving, and I felt myself start to, you know, just turn my head a little bit. And next thing I knew, I was getting off an exit. Thank God it was an exit. Otherwise, I would have gone off the road. And I quickly jolted, and this is obviously before, you know, we had GPSs and stuff like that on our phone, so I didn't have a GPS, and I got off an exit. I didn't know where the fuck I was going. It woke me up, but yeah, that scared the shit out of me.
So
I'm trying to think of some other ones. Yeah, there's here's a classic one. Okay, this was good. I was like 15 or 16, and I was learning to drive the car up and down the driveway and learn how to parallel park in our parents' driveway. We went to Wegmans, and my mom and we were going to rent movies. And I still remember this, renting Blade Runner and Alien, and for like the 10th time or whatever. So my mom goes, "Oh, I'm going to keep grocery shopping." And I was like, "I'm just going to go to the car." Went to the car with the car keys to open it up, and I'm like, "Oh, my mom parked a little crooked. I'm going to try to straighten it up."
Oh
yeah.
No!
I backed up suddenly, just went wham, nailed a car that was going by, and scared the shit out of me. And of course, the guy that I hit was an off-duty police officer.
Natural.
And so, yeah, I got deep shit for that. So I was not allowed to get my permit until I was 17. Where everyone was taking driver's ed at 16 and stuff, I couldn't do it. I wasn't allowed to.
Wait a minute.
I was
Did you get in legal trouble, or or your parents just said that?
You know, to this day, I really don't know. I don't think it's a legal thing. I think that was my parents doing, but...
Can we call your parents?
Oh, fuck, they don't even know what they had for dinner. Are you kidding? I don't know. Forget that. Yeah, I still remember that. And I remember my dad showing up and never once yelled at me, just ripped my mom. Just started yelling at my mom. So my mom and my dad are yelling. And I'm kind of sitting in the car like this, embarrassed. I could feel like tears well up and like holding it back. Just something in my eye, you know, doing those things. But yeah, it was
wow.
That was horrible. I fucking hated that.
Yeah, that's a rough.
I still remember driving that snowstorm going to Canada.
Oh,
first Canada trip with the guys.
Oh yeah,
on the way
that
back.
Scared the shit out of me. It was.
Well, you got to say it again in case people don't remember. What happened?
We used to take trips to Canada with all just guys going up there, Niagara Falls, fucking around.
It was like a symphony of guys.
Yeah, it was like, because you could drink at age 19. So we would all go up there, drink. You can go to fucking strip clubs and stuff like that. It was before even the casinos were there.
Yeah.
It's basically go up there to drink and fuck around in the hotel room and go to strip clubs. That was basically it. You see a museum here and there or whatever, like the Castle Dracula and, you know, House of Worth and all that other shit. But yeah, it was it was a fucking horrible snowstorm driving back, and I had just gotten my license, and learning to drive in a snowstorm, and the car swerving and so, oh, it was awful.
Oh, you went like totally sideways behind us.
Yeah, at one point the whole car went like this. I didn't know. I'm like, oh, this is it. It's like never got laid. Well, I guess I'm paying the price now.
Yeah.
So,
I remember I was in the other car watching out the back window, and I saw your car on the parkway go sideways, go sideways one way, sideways the other way, and I'm like, oh well, that's the end of Jamie.
yeah, I think Pete was in my car.
Pete and Marty, I think.
Yeah, I think Pete, you were with me, and Marty might have been in there. But that was fucking horrible. That sucked.
Yeah.
I think Clem was in there too.
Yeah, he was searching.
Well, that sucked too. Imagine if you died with. Never mind.
He was searching. He was.
Oh my god.
He went to Canada to search for new friends.
Right.
That's right. As he died, he screamed, "I need new friends."
Never gets old. Never.
Mike, do you?
But
sorry.
there's, I think that's about it. I fell asleep a couple times at the wheel. To be honest with you, that was the worst one. But there's times I fell asleep at the stoplight.
There's just a quick honorable mention. I think we brought this one up too, but Jamie also.
Peacock fuels your true crime obsession with exclusive new originals like John Wayne Gacy, Devil in Disguise.
He said to me, clowns can get away with murder.
Dr. Death, the undoctored story.
This guy's dangerous.
And Epstein's shadow, Ghislaine Maxwell.
She inherited Jeffrey Epstein's secrets.
There was this whole other world going on.
Plus the most bingeable crime series, Buried in the Backyard and Snapped. And with the Dateline 24/7 channel that's always on.
Did you want her dead?
You can't not obsess. Sign up now at peacocktv.com.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of this.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Got lost in Buffalo, pounded his steering wheel, and it came off.
Oh, I thought that. Yeah, that's a good story.
I never heard that
I think it was
story.
me and Matt Oakes. We're coming back from USC. I think me and Matt Oakes are trying so hard not to laugh.
Yeah, UFC. You were seeing the UFC fight.
Oh yeah.
This is how long ago it was. It was UFC 7.
Oh Jesus, really?
Yeah, it was UFC.
And it was 7. Yeah, the guy lost a tooth.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mike,
I lost the steering wheel, so there you go.
Holy crap! I didn't think that could happen, but apparently, when you're fevered enough, you can knock anything loose.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it was nuts.
Mike, do you have any other stories besides what recently happened to you?
I do, but the funny thing about Jamie losing that steering wheel is that he just put it back on and just started driving. It's not like that stopped our trip. You know, like I talked about how the tire came off. Oh shit, I'm going to be in a hotel. No, Jamie just put the steering wheel back on and we went back to Rochester.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here.
I took care of you.
All right.
I wasn't playing games of life.
Mallory,
that might be an honorable mention.
Mallory Jandress.
Typically what I do on this show is I tell, I tend to once in a while tell really boring long stories. So rather than do that, I'm just going to list a few things that have happened in my many driving experiences. One time I was in Florida and I'm driving down, and all of a sudden an old person starts driving towards me, going the wrong way down the street.
Oh shit.
And almost hit me and yelled out the window, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" I also pulled the Jamie. I fell asleep at the wheel once. Very scary. I actually been driving for 13 hours, and I was in Indiana, and I had driven on the highway forever, and we had to go like a half hour down a street, and I fell asleep. I was so tired I didn't even realize it. I hit like a traffic pole, and luckily nobody was hurt.
Only Mike would drive 13 hours straight and think I got another half hour in me.
Oh yeah, shit. And then the first time I drove a 16-foot moving truck was when I was driving down to Brooklyn. Never been to Brooklyn before in my life, and I was driving this truck full of shit, and I got lost in Brooklyn, and I had to like do a full backup with just the mirrors and all this shit. Blizzard from New Jersey to Cape Cod during tour. I passed 16 accidents, including one that happened right in front of me. A pickup truck went sideways and went into a tractor trailer.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Man.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts. Let's see. A car exploded next to me, which I might have brought up on the show. I'm not sure. I was driving back from work, and there was everyone had to slow down because there was an accident. Car was off on the side of the road, and right when I was passing it 2 lanes over, the car exploded, and the heat, you could feel it through the window.
No shit.
Like it shook, and you could feel that shit.
Dude, I'm never fucking driving with you ever.
No shit. Can somebody get Mike a talisman or something to carry with him when he drives?
When you
like,
figure,
Jesus.
I've been spending my entire life doing major driving.
No, you haven't.
Like I would drive. I was driving back and forth to Chicago. I was driving back and forth to New York. I was on tour for an entire year. I've been driving to Connecticut to work for like 14 years. Before that, my fucking bike everywhere. Like I've always been driving. And the last one is another blizzard coming from Rochester to Chicago, technically Indiana, when I was living there. And I got in a blizzard, and it took me, I think it's been a long time. I think it's been 4 hours to get from Rochester to Buffalo, which is, 45 minutes in ideal conditions.
Yeah, if you're flying, yeah.
And I kept going, and I was so exhausted that I went through a red light at a stop and got a car accident.
Oof.
So those are my horror stories, and there are many more. But
I thought you were going to tell the story when you turned the air conditioning on in your car during the wintertime.
Well, that's because you had no heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're getting mad. You got mad at someone in the car and that didn't like the cold, and you turned the air.
Oh, who did you do that to?
I forgot about that.
That should have been the story about pettiness. That should have been on a story on that episode, the petty episode.
No, it probably was. I mean, I could go on and on. There's one Jamie mentioned a little bit of. I think it was him, me, and Marty coming back from somewhere in Irondequoit. Was it Seabreeze? And we're driving, and there's that huge curve when you're coming over to go down to the Irondequoit Bridge, and I think it was it wasn't too far after the ice storm. It wasn't snowy, but it was after the ice storm where they used to put all that wood where you make that huge turn. Anyway, I'm going along, and we were having this really serious discussion, and I don't know what Jamie, maybe you could tell us better. Like I made it look like I was going to go off the road.
Oh, that wasn't the playing games of my life thing. That was
it was.
No, that was something else. That was when you're like, wouldn't it be something if we just drove straight?
Yeah, that was it.
No, it wasn't. And both Mary and I got real quiet because you just kept going straight. And we're like, oh fuck. And you kind of quickly turned the car, and we were okay. It was a different time with Matt Oakes.
And it was Marty. It was playing.
No, because you're taking the car and going, you're driving, and you go, vroom, vroom, and I was like freaking out because I was young too, and I was like not used to all this moving around in the car being zick, and I'm like, I played games of my life around here. I had a bug up my ass that day for sure.
Oh, we must have repeated that line 5,000 times.
Oh, it is funny.
In the
it deserves to be mocked.
In the Facebook
on the way up to work one time on the freeway, I saw two ugly people fucking.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Why were they ugly?
They were just ugly people. They were. It has to be a horror story.
Were they ugly enough? Were they ugly enough where you didn't know what end you were looking at?
It was ugly enough, but I still watched. Which
was it like
what that says about me?
But was it like the long titties that look like pointers?
It was more like this. Those were awesome, but I believe it was more like it was just this big mass of shit.
Oh, they were pooping?
Oh, so they were doing it in the butt?
I don't know. Could have been.
Interesting.
She was definitely on top.
Oh, wow.
In the chat here on the Facebook stream, Mallory Jandra says, I fell asleep while waiting in a train crossing. Luckily, I only gently tapped the car in front of me. He got out to yell at me, and I just started bawling and said that my foot slipped. He backed away super quickly at that and just got back in his car.
That's a good way to do it. You just start crying.
Just turn on the waterworks. Yeah. Although I got a feeling if like one of us tried to do it, the other person would be like, "Quit fucking crying! You hit my fucking car!" Blah, blah, blah.
Keith, do the waterworks. You start pissing yourself.
That's right. Oh, wrong waterworks.
Play games on life around here.
My stories.
Playing games with Cutlass Supreme.
My story. I had a very similar experience to Mike. I had a flat tire on the Pennsylvania Turnpike going home one night in New Jersey by myself. However, nobody told me that you couldn't drive on a donut on the highway, so I actually rode that shit from Scranton to Cortland.
What?
Going 45 miles an hour the whole way. I didn't speed on the donut. I just had my flashers on, and I went the whole way, and I made it right. I made it to Cortland at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I knew where the tire place was because I went to school there. There's a hotel right off of 81. I got a room. I spent the night. Got up the next morning and the fucking donut was flat, and then I had to fucking call AAA and get it towed to the fucking tire place in the morning.
Wow.
But yeah, that was the last time. That was 2004. 2003, 2004, and while I was waiting for my car to get the wheel to get fixed, the tire to get fixed, I just walked the campus, and it was weird. It was the last time I've been on campus there, but I just had nothing to do.
So.
Yeah, that's that's walking the campus. That's another nice story, but that's a shitty thing too. But
yeah,
it's amazing that I mean, like under ideal conditions, when you're driving like the regular, a little above the speed limit, Scranton to Cortland is like what, an hour and a half?
Yeah, no, it was a long time. It took me like 3 hours to get there. Like it was a long time.
Yeah, and if you're under 50, you can drive on a donut, but they just they don't want you going over 50.
Yeah, I think I got lucky because it was nighttime. There wasn't a lot of traffic, and I just put my flashers on and somehow miraculously I didn't pass any cops the whole way there. Don't ask me how I did that because I have no idea.
How'd you do that, Keith?
God damn it, Steve! I just told you not to ask.
Well, fuck.
See, I had another story where, similar to Jamie's falling asleep at the wheel, I was working crazy hours, but I was also 24, so I was going out every night, Saturday and Sunday. So you
were drunk while you were driving.
No, I was just really tired because I didn't get any sleep. So Sunday morning I was going, and there's a part of 490 in the city of Rochester that's kind of like an S, and I don't know what happened. The next thing I know, the hood of my car is pointed up at the air. It felt like it was like a 70-degree angle, but it probably wasn't that steep. But when you're just waking up from behind the wheel, you have no idea what the fuck's going on. And the front end of my car was up and came down like boom. And it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. There was on a Sunday morning, so there was no one around. So I just stood there like stunned, or sat there stunned, looked around. There was nobody around. The car seemed like it was okay. So I drove all the way to Brockport back to work and back. And I drove on that car for about another 9 months. And I took it to my dad's mechanic for some routine maintenance. And he looked under it. He called my dad at work. It was so bad underneath. He said, "How long has he been driving on this car like that?" And my axle apparently was like a fucking a bad breeze away from being ripped apart. Like it was just about to fall off. And he said it could have killed me. He said if he was going, the mechanic told my dad, if he was going fast when that thing snapped, he would have killed himself. So
what was it that was going to snap?
The axle. Because the way that it fucking came down so hard. Yeah, so that was
that. Mine did actually snap, but it was only on Old Ridge Road.
Oh, yeah, that's lucky going that slow.
Jamie, you were in the car, were you?
No, I don't remember that.
I was on the axle snapped, and the car like I was able to get to the side of the road, but yeah, it was pretty frightening, and that was a low speed. I can't even imagine.
And then one story, Pete was there for. I think Pete, Paul, and Dan O'Connell were in my car. We had gone to Charlotte Beach for the day. I was driving my parents' Hyundai Elantra. It was a red car. And we had stopped by Eastway Wegmans on the way home, and we were parked. A couple people just ran in. So it was me and I think maybe Pete still in the car. And we were just waiting there, minding our own business. And this car came up from behind us and just threw fucking coins at the car. And we're like, what the fuck was that? So it was just at the time where I think it was Paul and Dan were walking out. We're like, get in the car. And so they freaking got in the car. I freaking peeled out with an Elantra, whatever peeling out an Elantra looks like. And I went down Bay Road as fast as I could. We tailed these guys all the way down 104. Dan was hanging out the window throwing change at this car on 104 because we pulled up next to him. And they got off at 250. They got off at 250. We followed them. They were at the traffic light at Main Street and 250 in Webster on that hill, and there were a couple cars ahead of us. And I remember, Pete, you got out of the car, and I think it was with Dan, and you ran up to the car, and you're like, get out of the car! Get out of the car! And you, like, feigned a punch, like you were going to put your hand through the window. I'm like, holy shit, he's going to do it! But he didn't do it. But then, so we followed him north or south on 250, and there was a housing track under construction there. We parked my car perpendicular, and they just kept driving around the cul-de-sac because they were trying to figure out what the fuck they were going to do. And then they finally just drove on the grass around us, and we got tired of fucking with them, so we let them go after that. But that was a 20 minutes of fun there.
God damn!
Oh, wow.
Jesus Christ!
I never heard that story.
Yeah, no, it was.
I never heard that either.
Is any of that true?
Yeah, I just completely made it up on the spot.
It sounds true.
It'll
be.
He took Pete's story and then just embellished on it a little bit.
Yeah. He's got a gift of stories.
No, that's it.
Did I ever tell you guys about the time that Marty and I our car broke down in Virginia?
Yeah.
That's an old story.
Sounds
no.
Right,
Yeah,
no,
well,
I don't remember
the
that.
alternator went in the middle of the night, and the car just stopped dead on the highway.
Oh,
and we're just sitting there trying to figure out what to do. And this car comes along, and guy's like, "Hey, I work at a mechanic shop. Do you want to lift?" I'm like, "Yeah." So we went back to the shop with this guy. We didn't really have anywhere to stay, and he's like, "Why don't you guys come out to my place?" And I'm sort of elbowing Marty, going, And he's like, "Okay, you know." So before you know it, we're in this guy's car, and he's taking us out into the freaking boonies. And the whole while, I'm just looking at Marty, going, "Seriously, how are we gonna get out of this? Like, you got a plan here?" I'm starting to come up with a plan C or something, because I haven't seen a house in 15 minutes. We get all the way out to this guy's house. It turns out he's a great guy. He had this mash in his bathtub that he was cooking up, and we were drinking that and watching the ball game, and it was great.
That's awesome.
He was a great guy. It was kind of sketchy for a while, but
when was this?
Dude, I never heard that story. That's awesome.
This is it was when I was working security over summer, and then I just up and quit my job, and I'm like, you know what? Because this guy, he did something to piss me off, so I quit the next day. Mm-hmm. And college was starting in a few weeks or something, so I drove over to where Marty was working, and I walked in, and I was like, "You're gonna quit today?" He's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Oh, yes, you are. We're leaving right now." We did. He quit. We went and emptied our bank accounts and got in the car and drove. We got as far as Virginia, and the thing died, and we had to get it fixed. But that was such a good trip. That was so much fun.
Dude,
awesome.
That's amazing.
Sounds like it. Jamie,
I've never heard that story.
Jamie,
it was great. Like this guy, his wife was screaming at him the whole time, and he had to keep going in the house, and we were just cracking up laughing, drinking this moonshine crap out of his bathtub. Holy crap!
Now, did you have to go in the bathtub and just put a glass in? How did that work?
No, he came out with a mason jar. He was like, "Oh, I'm cooking it up in her." And he came out with a mason jar, and I'm like, "I'm not drinking that shit. There's no way."
Yeah, you could have been roofing.
Just dive in there. It's like, oh well, there's gonna be at least one body,
I gotta tell you, Pete, I'm not sure I would have started after that.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I know, right? Here I am in the middle of nowhere with some stranger, and drinking something out of a bathtub. Like, Jesus, I don't know how the hell I made it this far. I have no idea.
Dude,
I just have
awesome.
I have this vision of you on a dusty road in Virginia, and somebody pulls up, and the only thing I'm hearing in my head is that scene from the movie Breakdown. You, the feller's looking for his wife.
I'm just thinking Deliverance, but that's a whole nother thing.
Jamie, do you remember when we gave that crazy lady a ride home from Friendly's?
What? No.
We got out early release, and we went to Friendly's in the village of Webster. And Jamie and I are just sitting there eating lunch, and this woman's sitting there by herself, and this fucking just blizzard, just this lake effect, big fat flake fucking blizzard just comes by, and she gives us a story that she's got to walk home to Phillips Village. So Jamie and I was driving, and I was like, "Oh, as long as I'm not alone, yeah, sure, we'll give you a ride." And we dropped her off at the corner of Phillips Road and Main Street because I started to get fucking wigged out. But I
have absolutely no memory of that whatsoever.
Dude, she was like,
Jamie slept with her.
She was.
I popped my cherry.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
No, I meant I popped it when we were eating at Friendly's. I popped it when I was eating at Friendly's.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And the only other story that I have before we go here, because we're over time here, but
he's got to say his Canada story too.
Well, yeah.
No, fuck you, Mike. Shut the fuck up, Mike.
We should, you know what? We're all grossly underprepared. We should have behind the scenes prepared to sing "O Canada," all the four of us to Steve. But anyway, I was going down this road in New Jersey, like 10 o'clock at night. It's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, and I'm going like 55, 60. And all of a sudden, I hear a bang! I feel it on the front of my car, and I look up, and all I see out of the, like, looking from the driver's seat out the front windshield on a picture it diagonally through the passenger side of the windshield looking out, I see this deer head just kind of whip off into the fields.
Oh, fuck.
So it was a foggy ass night. I didn't see shit. I hit a deer. That deer was not anywhere. So either he landed and ran or I launched that fucking thing. I don't know. But that head was way up high and it was just
wow.
It was like it was flipping like horizontally.
Oh, that's fucked up.
What if it wasn't a deer? What if you actually hit a person and there just happened to be a deer there and scared the shit out of
I'm not admitting to that without consulting a lawyer. I'm not going to answer that without consulting
Holy
a lawyer.
shit.
But yeah. So the fucking.
Keith, did you want to
see? I've never. What were you gonna say?
No, I was going to finish my story.
Okay.
So
well, finish it, goddammit.
My right headlight's fucking busted. It's like 2 weeks before Christmas, and I got to drive home to Rochester for Christmas. And because now that I'm a fully insured driver, I can tell this story. My car was still registered in New York, and my insurance had lapsed. So therefore, I was driving uninsured. So I had no way to like really fix this in any time to drive home, and I didn't want to tell my parents that I was driving uninsured because my mother would have had a fucking stroke. So I go to this body shop, and I tell the guy, I need this fixed. I'm pay cash. I really don't want to go through insurance. He's like, yeah, we got a Christmas party coming up. We could really use some. So the guy fixed it for like $350, which is probably freaking highway robbery for a headlight. But you know what? I was like, as long as I don't have to go through insurance and fill out a police report, thank you very much, sir. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
So if we have any police officers on the listening in, it's 585-484-0342.
Yeah. Free legal advice, folks. How to avoid insurance fraud.
Now, Keith, did you want to plug next week's episode?
Wait, what's next week's episode? Did we settle on a topic for next week's episode?
I thought you had a guest speaker.
Oh, is that? No, that's not. It's the week after.
Oh, is it the week after?
April 13th, folks. If you are on TikTok, like I am, completely fucking addicted, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I know this group. This group will ridicule me.
Little girl.
But there is a channel on TikTok called Props to History, and this guy is just really a bunch of movie information. Talks about movie props, what happened to them, how they were made, stuff like that. If you're a movie buff at all, it's absolutely worth your follow. And he has agreed to come on the show April 13th. So now I believe he's actually in California and kind of under wraps what's going on there. But I think he's got some kind of TV deal in the works, whether he's going to be on a TV show or have a show, or I don't know. But he's blown up on TikTok, and he's agreed to come on the show. Apparently he hasn't heard us yet, but he's agreed to come on the show. So
I hate movies, but I can't wait.
Yeah, so I understand.
So does Wes Parr.
Right.
Mike's Amish.
I am. It's true.
But yeah, so anybody have anything they want to shout out, like a live reading of a play that might be coming up or anything like that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Mike, are we allowed to give out that Zoom info, or is it fine, right?
No, you can't get out the Zoom info, but you can give out like I don't know, we'll give out my page. How about that?
Okay, you do it, because I don't know what your page is.
All right, well, is it the 3rd?
Yeah, this coming Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, April 3rd, next Saturday, we're going to be doing a one-time only reading of the Wes Anderson, Owen Wilson screenplay, The Royal Tenenbaums. Really, a really fun time. We've actually done a few rehearsals, which is a few more than we normally do. Jamie is not only directing it, but taking one of the lead roles. My daughter Isabella's in it. Friend of F That Noise, Miriam, who's done some readings with us, is in it too. And I will be trying to be funny. But if you want to, see this, you can catch the ad for it on Facebook/MASC Theater. And I hope that you check it out.
Yeah, it's on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's also listed on the Westchester Civic Theater webpage for any people in Illinois. And Keith's in it too. Keith is narrating.
He's narrating, yeah.
Yeah, and his I don't know.
Where are you going, James? You were trying to go someplace with it.
I couldn't think of something funny.
You were trying to go someplace.
Royal dick or something. I don't know.
Yes, but just to make it easier, we're gonna put the ad for it again on the F That Noise page. So
yeah,
if anyone wants to check that, that'll be up tonight.
So in the meantime,
how many people are allowed to get on? I don't know these Zoom things.
Well, we're allowed to have, it's a private reading, and we're allowed to have with the cast up to 100 people.
Oh, we ain't getting 100 people.
So you people better get on there quick, because we're gonna have over 100 people.
Yeah, we're gonna standing room only. Wait,
and you can see me without a shirt on. So
yeah. Mike does get partially nude. We do have we get to see some kissing in this. We do get to hear some swearing. We get to
total
guns, drugs.
Total.
Yeah, there's some drugs. There's some costume changes.
Total
guns and drugs.
Total frontal nudity.
Oh, there isn't that. You do get to see Mike's hairy woolen chest, so
that is worth but that's basically clothed,
I guess it's just not. It's not total. It's partial.
Didn't you get Gene Hackman to reprise his role too?
I wish. Oh my God, wouldn't that be?
Yeah, he looks different though.
Yes.
He does.
Just say yes. Yeah, you got him.
Yes. He's like, and David Bell, famous David Bell, is in the play as well.
It's funny. Did you see he just commented?
Yes, that's why I just said his name.
Dave Bell.
Want to play?
All right, this has been episode 60 of F That Noise. Tune in next week, where we'll treat you with such deep philosophical statements as "fuck this shit."
That's pretty much it.
I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you're doing with my time.
Streaming only on Peacock, a new original comedy.
Me, in a punk band?
We Are Lady Parts.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power.
Be puked all over the front row. Ew.
We Are Lady Parts. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock. Streaming only on Peacock, a new original comedy.
Me, in a punk band?
We Are Lady Parts.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power.
Be puked all over the front row. Ew.
We Are Lady Parts. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.